Welcome, Corinne. It's very nice to meet you.
Hi Raquel, nice to meet you too. I've heard lots of great things about Adavinta, and I'm really looking forward to hearing about the team today.
That's very good to hear. I've been part of the team now for 3 years and really loved how the company has transformed. Like, for example, my team, we started as just 5 people and we've now grown to 20.
Wow, that's impressive. I knew that Adavinta had grown a lot in the past year from what people I know in the industry had told me and what I'd read online, but I didn't realize it was that much.
Yeah, it has been. It's been really good. But before we start, I'd like to give you a bit of an idea of what to expect in your interview today. Okay. So I would like to know more about your background and how you would fit into this role. So Johnny, your recruiter, should have let you know that we'll be focusing on certain competencies for your role, like being a global citizen, your ability to challenge ideas, business partnership and consulting, etc. So I'll be looking for responses focusing on specific past situations that you've experienced in a professional setting. So if you can make sure to focus on what your role was in those situations, that'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, Johnny did a great job explaining how competencies fit into your roles. It sounds like a really interesting process.
Great. So I saw that you worked with a lot of HR systems. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. I've worked with various ATS systems in my last job, as well as several HR systems. I have an admin certification for both Workday and Smart Recruiters, and most of the training for using either of those systems were run by my team. I was the main person to create the content for the trainings.
As I mentioned before, my team has really grown and expanded in the past year, and we have a lot of great talent coming from all over the world, making for a really dynamic team. Tell me about a time when you adapted your thinking to accommodate a different culture perspective.
Sure. My last team was actually very international too. We had over 40 different nationalities there, so we regularly had to adapt HR methods to meet each local's team.
Okay, so what was something that you especially specifically had to adapt?
Well, when we were rolling out a new digital signature application, I was the one that delivered the training to our various teams. Many of the people on the training came from a different background. A lot of them spoke different languages. Some of them were more experienced with different HR tools than others. So I had to find ways to make the information relevant and clear for each team.
Yeah, that sounds like it was a similar setup to our own here in Adavinta. Our teams are spread across 12 countries. So I'd be interested to know what you did to make your message more relevant and clear for each team.
Sure, we had team calls to make sure everyone felt included, but some teams were quieter on calls. I was used to always working like that myself, but I realized that they might not feel comfortable speaking with all of our other HR partners on the same call. So I offered one to one sessions with each team member or with each local team.
Okay, so how did adapting to those sessions impact your rollout?
It made a huge difference. Some team members that had been really distant with me became really involved and dedicated to the project. It also helped me understand their needs better. I had thought that since this was a global change, that everyone would have the same interest in the project, but I learned that some teams had a lot of other projects going on and different expectations from their local markets. So I made changes to our plan to help support each team. And we ended up finishing the implementation 1 month ahead of schedule.
That's great. You mentioned needing to be able to adapt to other people's perspective. While working on that project, how did you ensure that each team felt secure to challenge your ideas?
Hmm. I'm not really sure. We had lots of brainstorming sessions that helped ideas flow throughout the process, and
Mm-hmm.
we spoke to each other regularly.
Okay. Can you give me an example of when you had to challenge someone else's idea during one of those sessions?
Sure. One team member I remember really wanted to do the rollout over 12 months. The reasoning behind that was that it'd have a lower impact on our day to day work. I agreed that it would have a lower impact, but the negative impacts that it would then have on our resources due to contracts and general budget really outweighed the benefit that it would have on our day-to-day work.
Okay. And how did your team react to your point?
To be honest, they weren't very happy about it. There were a few days where we really went back and forth on the idea. Once we really mapped out the pros and cons to each plan, they agreed that the shorter timeline was the best option.
Okay, sounds like it was an easy decision to reach. What did you learn from that process?
Oh, well, I think maybe.
Let me give you a couple of minutes to think about that one. It's absolutely fine. We can come back to it later if you prefer.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Great. Okay, so for the next one, feel free to think of a new situation if that's easier for you. So, could you tell me about a time when trust played a key role with your stakeholders? So, Corinne, do you have any other question about our team or Adevinta?
No, I think we've covered all my questions about the company so far. What can I expect next in the process?
Okay, so there's one more question. Sorry, one more interview. Your recruiter will reach out to you later today to see your availability and get it arranged. So after that, we will be able to give you a final answer by following week.